This is the AR Podcast.
The train rights itself. The angle falls behind. Again, it feels its motion at the small of his back. For several miles, the tracks hug the ocean, which is close enough to touch. The shallowest waves lap against mere inches of shore. He sees a stone bridge, scattered islands, the size of rooms, gracious gray and white homes with pleasant views. Boxy houses built on stilts, lone herons and cormorants perched on bleached wooden posts. Boats with naked masts crowd the marina. It is a view his father would have appreciated, and Gogol is reminded of the many times he had driven with his family on cold Sunday afternoons to the sea. There were times when it had been so cold that they had simply sat in the car, in the parking lot, looking at the water. His parents sharing tea from a thermos in the front seat, the engine running to keep him warm. Once, they had gone to Cape Cod, driving along that curving piece of land until they could drive no further. He and his father had walked to the very tip across the breakwater, a string of giant gray slanted stones, and then on the narrow, final inward crescent of sand. His mother had stopped after a few stones and waited with Sonia, too young to go with them, at her side. "Don't go too far," his mother had warned. "Don't go so that I can't see you." His legs began to ache halfway there, but his father marched ahead, stopping at times to lend Gogol an arm, his body slightly tilted when he rested on a rock. While on these rocks, some far apart enough to make them pause and consider the best way to reach the next one, water had surrounded them on both sides. It was early winter. Ducks swam in the tide pools. The waves flowed in two directions. "He's too little," his mother had called out. "Are you listening? He's too little to go so far." Gogol had stopped then, thinking that perhaps his father would agree. "What do you say?" his father had said instead. "Are you too little?" "No, I didn't think so." At the end of the breakwater, there was a field of yellow reeds to the right, and dunes beyond, and the ocean behind it all. He had expected his father to turn back, but still, they had continued, stepping onto the sand. They walked along the water to the left, heading toward the lighthouse, past rusted boat frames, fish spines as thick as pipes attached to yellow skulls, a dead gull whose feathery white breast was freshly stained with blood. They began to pick up small faded black stones with white stripes running around them, stuffing them into their pockets so that they drooped on either side. He remembers his father's footprints in the sand because of his limp. The right toe of his shoe was always turned outward, the left straight ahead. Their shadows that day were unnaturally slender and long, leaning in toward each other, the late afternoon sun at their backs. They paused to regard a cracked wooden buoy painted blue and white, shaped like an old parasol. The surface was wrapped with thin brown strands of seaweed and encrusted with barnacles. His father lifted and inspected it, pointing to a live mussel underneath. Finally, they stood by the lighthouse, exhausted, surrounded by water on three sides, pale green in the harbor, azure behind. Overheated from the exertion, they unzipped their coats. His father stepped away to urinate. He heard his father cry out they had left the camera with his mother. "All this way and no picture," he said, shaking his head. He reached into his pocket and began to throw the striped stones into the water. "We will have to remember it then." They looked around at the gray and white town that glowed across the harbor. Then they started back again, for a while trying not to make an extra set of footsteps, inserting their shoes into the ones they had just made. A wind had picked up so strong that it forced them to stop now and then. "Will you remember this day, Gogol?" his father had asked, turning back to look at him, his hands pressed like earmuffs to either side of his head. "How long do I have to remember it?" Over the rise and fall of the wind, he could hear his father's laughter. He was standing there waiting for Gogol to catch up, putting out a hand as Gogol drew near. "Try to remember it always," he said once Gogol had reached him, leading him slowly back across the breakwater to where his mother and Sonia stood waiting. "Remember that you and I made this journey, that we went together to a place where there was nowhere left to go." Hey, welcome back. It did really feel like an eternity. I had the pleasure of meeting some of you, my amazing followers, last week in a Let's Talk event, and it was really fun to sit down and talk to you. We talked about a variety of subjects, and it was really nice to know your opinions on different matters. I really enjoyed the event, and I didn't really feel the time pass by. It was an absolute honor, and I hope we can hold another event soon. In the event, I did mention a challenge that I would want everybody who's got a little bit of a time to participate in. It's a book reading challenge, and I did ask people who attended my event to suggest me books via my email address. All you need to do is to identify a book that you want me to read. Maybe send some of the pages that you think is interesting, and then I'll read it for you. Thank you. The book you just listened to was Jhumpa Lahiri's masterpiece, The Namesake. I've seen this movie, but comparing the two, I enjoy the book more. Reading a book is all about a process. So I suggest everybody to read the book first and then watch the movie. This week's guest is an architect and also my professor at my university. When you talk to him, it feels like you're swimming in an ocean of knowledge. You feel so free. It was simply outstanding to sit down and talk to him. Please welcome Dr. Mehrdad Javidinejad.
This is the AR Podcast.
So thank you so much for the time. It's a pleasure, and it was pretty amazing because I'm one of the students in our university, somebody who's really really likes your style of teaching, and I think I'm not alone. I think there's a lot of people who really love the style you teach in.
Thank you very much. I think it's a time to make possible the possibilities move to change the way of life that we have. Any minute, in my opinion, is a chance to change to a better mood. So I welcome you here, and I hope that we two together may have another way to work.
Yeah, sure, definitely. So one of the reasons I'm sitting here with you today is because I always wanted to understand your ideology. And when I first met you in one of our classes, I was blown away by the way you were teaching. I thought it was new. At the same time, we don't really have a lot of professors in our university who follow this style basically that you teach.
Probably you're right. Maybe it's because of my connection to the other academic academic organization in out of Iran, such as the universities, research centers, or any other similar organizations. I think that as time is passing, the way of living must be changed. We are not supposed to have our own experience to make it, to create it. We can share our experiences with the others so we can have a better way to live, to work, to communicate. Communication is the base of the today philosophy. So I follow this concept. That's the reason that I changed my style of working, teaching, connection with the students. But totally, I believe in net. In merging the people, we can achieve a better result. And not only the result, a concept, a way, a system that can create and change even the system and upgrade it. So that's the reason I am following this way of teaching.
And I believe like most of the students that have classes with you are in love with you. And it's mostly, I think, because of the fact that you always have time and you always manage. Like when somebody comes to you and says, hey, I got a question, you never say, I can't answer your question right now. You're always free to talk. And I think that's very, very important.
Maybe I'm more vision than the others because I believe in chances. I believe in possibilities in our normal life. Any question, any event around us is a chance to be upgraded, to make us stronger and to make us observe others and the conditions better than before. So while I am answering a question, first of all, the question has made a change in my philosophy. It's a shock. It's a shock to manage my ideology again in another way that it was before. So that's the reason it's important for me to be connected with the students and spend more time. I'm not spending time. I am paying the cost of upgrading. This is my opinion. I'm not answering any question. We too are upgrading ourselves.
Of course. As a professor, number one, how did you even get into teaching architecture? What was the reason you started doing this?
It's a nice question because maybe the better question is how did you enter to architecture at all? Suddenly, it was a challenge for me to study architecture. It was because of my lovely teacher that I had. Anyway, it's a story. It's a long story. But I have grown up in a family who were a teacher. My father was teacher. My mother was a kind of teacher. My uncle was a teacher. So it was a base. It was a basic structure that we had in our family. But when I entered to the university, it was just an accident because the university was not eager to accept any new professor at that time. I was passing by the university and I decided to enter and apply for working there. And they answered me, yes, you can. You may come and join us.
You had no idea?
With no idea. And I entered to the university by teaching the course of material technology. That was my first course. I never forget those days. Material specification goes to construction materials exactly. We tried to work with the materials in the class. So gypsum in class, breaks in the class. And that was new for everybody. And I had a very good reference. I made a very good reference because the students who were in the first year of studying tried to make good research, a good experience, and I had a good history from those days. A very good document I have made from those days. So maybe it was an accident, but I don't believe in accidents. I was supposed to be there. So I was there.
Yeah, I see, yeah. So do you believe in destiny?
Destiny, yes, because it's a long story.
Yeah.
Let me ask a question.
Sure.
Are you sure we are here?
Not really, no.
But actually, this is the most acceptable decision that we are here,
Yeah.
more than the other ideas. If we are here, that we are here, only from morning till now, we have done many things, consciously and unconsciously. The question is this: we have done those things to reach here and to be here, or we are here, so we were supposed to do those things. It's a loop.
Yeah.
It's a loop. So I believe in loop in destiny. Destiny is correct, it's acceptable, but it is not fixed. We
Yeah.
can change this.
So I believe if I'm supposed to go from A to B, fine. Everything that I do, I don't really know if I'm supposed to be going from A to B. I have no idea. Like the life is taking me from A to B. But at the same time, all the things that are happening around me are helping me achieve that. So it's like everything is written. But and I think I'm I'm making progress. I think I'm making those moves myself, even though I'm pretty sure that everything around me is making moves as well. Like the nature is making moves. All the people around me are making moves, meaning everybody's helping me achieve what I'm supposed to be achieving.
Or even vice versa.
Oh, vice versa. Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's true. Yes, yeah. I'm supposed to be going from A to B, but everybody's doing their best. For, yeah.
They're hired to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Unconsciously.
Yeah, unconsciously, exactly. Fine. This was one of the reasons I really wanted to talk to you because I knew, I started to write questions because I always do this. But then I said, let's not do that because I don't think you're the kind of person that I want to be sitting down and just doing an interview with. I want to understand you. I don't want to ask you questions and you just answer my questions back.
I must thank you again because I don't know myself either. And you helped me to know myself.
Yeah, sure. So this is a question that I have, and I've always been thinking myself like this question, and I have my own ideology in this, but I don't really, I really want to understand yours. Do you believe that there's another world after this life, and after we die, we go into another world and we live another life?
It's very hard for me to stop thinking.
Yeah.
And if the death is in a disappearing from the world, from the nature or any other explanation, where will go my ability of thinking? Mm-hmm. So I cannot stop thinking, so I will continue my life. I'm not going to think about to present again in the world in another shape of the human or some other things. No, we are passing in a way. We are not supposed to come back and try again and try again. It's unacceptable, uneligible. So I think that there would be another world, then there would be another conditions to continue the life. And the meaning of life must be changing there. Probably some other things, some other factors are acting there. Yes, I believe in another world because I am not able to stop thinking.
Yeah. And this is one of the reasons that people continue living, basically. They say, there's this phenomena in India, mostly.
Yeah.
That one of the reasons that somebody who's rich can live next to somebody who's really, really poor.
Yeah.
Is that the poor person believes that when they die, they might be in a position where...
In a better position than before, yeah, that's right. But I'm not thinking about that. Better position, I believe, because we have done something. If there is no result, there is no point for my activity in this life, the life is useless. So I must achieve another position, better position, higher position in the other life, according to my past and the history. So, yes, I believe in another way of life and upgrading.
I see. And what do you think about death
What?
in general? What do you think about it? Like you say, are you scared of it?
No. Another question.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the mood of your childhood if you could see your present position now? How could he accept these amount of pressure, thinking, and decisions you must make, and some other things?
Yeah.
It's impossible
It's
to put
impossible.
these position in your young position, your young time.
Yeah.
So again, we will have, I think, the same thing. Another word is the beginning of my end life in this world. So I'm passing, we are progressing in a way.
I see. Okay, because I believe death is something that we can never understand, right? Do you think we can understand it?
Yes, we can. As far as you are closer to death, you can imagine better and deeper. I believe in this because we have an amount of knowledge. And because of the amount of the knowledge, at the age of this amount of capability with uncapability and unknown things, we make imagination. So the imagination based on our ability, capability, and because of touching the close area, the close cloud of unknown things. So when we are closing to the death time, we can deeper and brighter think about the other step. Yeah. The same thing that you do every day, because you can plan for the tomorrow better than yesterday for the day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
So when we are closer to the time that you have to do something, you can decide better. You can imagine the mood that you may have it. It's the same thing that you did today. You could prepare yourself for such conversation or any other plan that you have after this conversation. Much more better than if you had to decide it in last week.
Yeah.
So I think that the age is very important.
You mean the level of maturity?
Yes.
Even in our thoughts, that makes us imagine even.
Of course.
Yeah,
Of course.
even better. So, this is how I imagine death to be. I see. You've of course seen a waterfall. Yeah, you must have seen a waterfall once or twice in your life. So when you see a waterfall, what you see is just water, it's just a stream of water going down a mountain or something. But you don't really know what's happening behind the waterfall, right? So when you go inside, because I'm pretty sure none of us have the imagination of what's happening behind a waterfall. Maybe there's no mountain behind it, or maybe there's a cave. Right? So I believe death is just like that. When you go inside a waterfall, you see, oh my God, hey, there's another world here. Maybe. I have no idea.
Yes.
Maybe, yes?
Yes.
So this is how I see death. Sometimes, and this is what I believe in, death is us losing people in time.
Thank you.
Time.
Good explanation.
This is all about time. It's not about the fact that, this is what I really believe in, that I lose you because your time is different than my time now. You've gone to somewhere else that our timings are just not the same.
Maybe we can translate your idea to this example. When we go to a trip, the same thing happens. We miss the people that we like in our country, in our place, and we meet another people, some new people. So it's happening all together, missing the others, and they miss you. Yeah. But you're in somewhere else, and you're continuing your life. They are continuing their life too.
Exactly. Yeah, just the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah. I've recently gone to Shiraz. It was the first time I did, and it's a shame, really, to say that it was the first time. I went to Shiraz, and my problem is that I have a phobia of height.
Oh.
Height for me is something which is I'm too scared of it. I'm too scared. So for me to sit in an airplane and go to another, it's not easy. And I always think about, okay, what if this happens? What if something goes wrong and I die? Fine, this is everything I think about. So during the flight, and it was a it was a really bumpy flight, so it just went up and down. It was killing me. I couldn't feel the back of my neck. I really thought I was having a heart attack. So at the time, I was thinking about death and everything. But then I said, I looked at my wife. I said, so what if we die? I said something like that, and she said, so what? So what is the negative thing you're thinking about? So if we die, we're going to be just like the million other people who've died so far. So it's not a scary thing, basically. That made me think really about this. And when I wanted to talk to you, I said, okay, let me ask this question because I really want to know what you think about it.
I had the same experience. I was in a flight. I was supposed to go to Kerman. And when we reached over the sky up there, the plane didn't land. It moved and moved and moved. A very tough man was sitting beside me. He didn't even answer my hello when I entered. After some turning of the airplane, he asked me, "Do you think there is a problem?" I said, "No, I don't think. I'm sure." And said, "How are you calm?" I said, "I'm sure about myself. I'm not a very unique man. I'm someone like the others. So if we are going to suppose to be alive, it's not because of me. But I'm sure among the people who are sitting in this plane, there is only one that the God will save the plane for them, for him.
Yeah.
So if there is one, I will be saved. And if there is not, okay, everybody dies. This is the story."
Yeah.
And he was shocked with my answer.
Yeah.
And we, of course, we landed.
Yeah. Thank God you did. Yeah. Anyways, so just to come out of this subject, I went to Shiraz, and Shiraz was an amazing city.
It's a lovely city.
I don't understand why people come to Tehran.
Yes.
Like we have so many beautiful cities, and when I went to Shiraz, the only thing I could get from it was that I felt connected.
Yes.
I've gone to so many different cities in the world, but none of them were as I went to Shiraz, and the first thing I said was, I just feel like I've been here before.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's just it's a power. It's a connection that I feel and I get from it. I went to the Persepolis. That's one of the things that like everybody does when they go to Shiraz. But then I didn't want to listen to anybody. I just want to sit down and feel like I had exactly. I had some sort of a connection with it. We went to Hafiziyeh, and I just sat on the ground. And of course, the security came and told me you shouldn't be sitting down here. But I just sat down. I said let me just feel it.
Just feel the atmosphere. Yeah. You're completely right. Shiraz is a very unique city. That's why that it's too dangerous for the young men go there.
Why is it?
Because they get quickly married there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they will succeed. They will have a better life if they do that. They are nice people. They have a good experience in lifestyle. They spend their time in the quality of life, not the quantity of life. They sleep enough. They work enough.
Exactly.
Everything is important there because of their lifestyle, the value of the life, not any other things.
Yeah.
And I believe in Shirazian people, and that's my destiny. I think that someday I'll go there and live for the rest of my life.
Exactly.
I'm really waiting for that.
Yeah, but I was with friends and with my wife, and we were thinking. We said, I think each and every one of us who live in Tehran, we need to go to a place like Shiraz every 2 months, 3 months, just to relax. And there's no stress. Everybody's smiling. Everybody's saying what is it? Like, come on, calm down. Everything's gonna be fine. I love that. I just love it. The air breathes the air is telling you to relax.
The shine of the eyes of the people.
Exactly.
I can compare Shiraz with Milan. I do love Milan too. The same life I have had and have there. Maybe in Milan, Italy or Shiraz in Iran. This is the end of my life interest, of course, at least.
Do you think the people of Shiraz are kind of different from other people of Iran? I kind of felt that, meaning maybe because we get a lot of tourists going to Shiraz, so they're more accepting of
No,
different cultures.
no. Because the same thing happens in Mashhad. The same thing happens in Isfahan. Maybe in Isfahan much more tourists you can see. It goes to their nature, the lifestyle that they have. You talk about the Persepolis. That was an empire. You're talking about the people of an empire in these days. Isfahan was another empire. When we are talking about Isfahan, directly you go to the Safavid era. But Safavid era was in challenge, all the time in challenge. But the late history of Iran shaped in Shiraz, in Persepolis, and in that time, the era of Iran was not in challenge with another. It was the stronger government, the innovative government, the experienced government, and humanistic governments. So I think that you're talking about the people of an empire, an ancient empire, like Abione. There is a big difference between the people of Abione and Kashan. They are almost at the same location.
Yeah.
But they don't think the world, they don't see the world in the same way. Abione goes from, the people from Abione was not living there all the time. They immigrated from some other places. They were a part of another empire. So it goes to the history, I think, to the background of it. It has changed, it has moved to their chromosome, to their genes, to look around. This is a concept. It's a physical even the concept, not only the mental concept.
If you were given a chance to go back to any era in Iran, would you go back to the Safavid era? Or any other?
I'm sure that you know the answer. I'm a challenger. I do like to be in challenges. So yes, I did like to go there and to try my best to understand better, to understand the higher level of not only the knowledge, the humanistic ideologies, philosophies of the life there in that period. Yes, I do like to go there. You know, Mr. Sheikh Baha'i. Sheikh Baha'i was a very complicated man. He was excellent. He was unique in everything. Exactly by the 3 years of his last life, years of life, and generally and unacceptably, he changed his idea. And he was all the time concentrating in knowledge and human energies and human thought. And then at the end of his life, he changed his idea and said, all of them are nonsense. And only the God and the Sharia and the Islam is everything. And we were following not the God. So we have to throw all of them away. It's a challenge. Maybe I had a chance to talk with Mr. Sheikh Baha'i. How can I describe it?
Yeah, sure, definitely. You mentioned Milan. And I wanted to ask you this question because you have this project that you take, you always have a workshop in the University of Milan.
Not only in Milano, even in Tehran, in Barcelona, in Roma, and one time in Istanbul.
So it's an architecture based and
architecture and urbanistica.
Mm-hmm. And can you explain a little bit more?
Yes, it was just a shock that I was invited for a seminar in Milano, Polytechnic di Milano. It was because of one of my students that was studying in PhD course there, and she suggested to the university that there is someone who can talk about Iran, and they accepted me. And I was supposed to have a very limited conference and a limited seminar, and about 20 minutes. I was waiting to meet 15, 20, 25 people there. I was shocked because the salon was full of the Iranian students. And more than 90% of them were not in architectural field. They were not studying architecture. Sciences, philosophy, art, and so on. And that time, one of them told me that this is the first time after the revolution that we can meet a professor from Iran talking about something. And we are proud of that. So that's why we are here. That was a good beginning for me. I tried my best to understand this position, this chance that I have got. So it happened and happened again. After 2 or 3 days, the university suggested me to make a trip, an academical trip for the Iranian students. And I accepted and I did it. It was good. It was acceptable, but because it was the first time that Iranian students can touch a foreign system of teaching in the University of Politecnico di Milano. But time by time and after time, I had a better result of the trip of the students. And it continued with an agreement between the two universities of Iran and Azad University of Iran and Politecnico di Milano. A very great agreement between the two universities. And a great welcome from Politecnico di Milano to Iranians. It was unbelievable for me. And we were supposed to have many seminars, many workshops, many academical events in Iran or in Italy, or even in other universities that are related or are in a chain with Politecnico di Milano around the world. I was invited 2 times to NYIT. NYIT is located in New York. And I was the first person from Iran who was invited to there to share in conference. But the University of Azad couldn't succeed to use this possibility. And from last year by now, meanwhile, I am still the responsible man for Iran and Italy connections in universities. Politecnico di Milano signed an agreement with me that the same possibility can be done through my company, my consulting company. So from that time, in September, we are supposed to have a group of students with the new shape of agreement to take them and have a seminar there. I believe in connections because most of the students in Iran are thinking about living in outside of Iran, studying in foreign universities, and they don't have a strong scheme of that. To achieve such a scheme, they have to pay a lot. They have to spend a lot. And maybe they don't succeed. In a very short time, in a week, they can touch the university from the heart of the university. They can touch the system of teaching there. They can touch the system of life because they go to the campus of these universities. They live with the other students. And this is safe, the most safe way that they can decide correctly for their future. Yeah. So this is the main reason, the main idea that I have. But the other one is having an experience, a professional experience. They get a certificate that is valuable in any other places to show it that I have passed these courses. So the first step is this. The first idea of this trip is to make a real mood of the living in a foreign country for Iranian students to be in safest mood.
And do you think this has been a success?
Of course, because through the four trips that we had, we have 7 students that are now living in Milano. Excuse me, 5 of them, and two of them went to Florence. So, there is a difference between living in Milano and Florence. The atmosphere doesn't go to the physical parts. It talks about concept of life. It's totally different living in Florence or Milano, because of their perspective of life. They decided to live and study in Florence. Yes, I was I'm sure that I did. 7, just 7.
Yeah.
But you think about even one of them. It's a huge possibility.
Exactly. Yes. Come from a country like Iran. That's amazing. That's beautiful. So thank you so much for doing this, like to all your students.
I'm not doing such a possibility. I'm not making such a possibility for pleasuring myself only or the others. I have to do that because it's a way that I can move faster and stronger and touch stronger and most close to the present ideology, scientific ideology of the world in the universities that we go there. It makes me more strong than before.
Yeah.
It's a chance for me too.
As a professor, how do you keep upgrading yourself? How do you update yourself?
In Iran, with the help of the VPNs. I'm sorry that I have to say that. Yes, I passed through the walls, and I'm always connected through the internet to the points that I'm allowed to be connected and get the latest experience that they have. I always suggest to the students, go to the YouTubes. YouTube is a system that you can find anything from the worst to the best. Like the life. Even here, you can find anything that you like. You can find an instrument to kill some people or to help others to live better. This is a decision. It goes to the decision, ideology of the people. Yes, I do think that there are many positive points, many positive abilities through the internet. But in other countries, when I'm out of Iran, no, I touch physically, face to face with the people. I take part in events. So I try to be a part of the events, not only an observer. So in Iran, I have to be only an observer. So that's why I make programs. I make plans for myself in Iran. I make some events to not to forget that this is not. You are not supposed to be an observer. You have to act. You have to be the nature of the event. And now we are going because, as I explained in Farsi before of the conversation, we're supposed to have in an international conference in Iran, in Mehrdad Tower, within Aban. So I'm always making involve myself in events. Yeah.
I see. How much of a book reader are you? Do you like reading books?
No. The only book that I have read completely was a book that with the title of the Nietzsche Cried.
Mm-hmm.
I even read the book more than one time. Mm-hmm. I even go and refer to it time by time for looking for some phrases there, some sentences there that they have there. You know that this is not the real book. There was no time that Nietzsche and Freud met each other and lived together. Yeah. And it's a virtual story. But the nature of these, the philosophy of these two people were connected by the writer together. And it was a possibility for the reader to have them and connected and interacted with each other, and to get your own ideology. That was the only book that I have read it many times. But in other books, I know they're fast reading, so I don't spend a lot of time to read the book all the time, all of the pages. But fast reading helps me to have time to read more books in one time.
When you enter a class, it feels to me like you leave everything behind the door. You say, all the problems
Yes.
are out of here. Right now, I'm going to this class, and these are some new people that I want to meet, and we want to talk. We don't want to. Your classes are not only about you teaching. It's about us interacting. So to young students and to young teachers, can you kind of explain how you achieve this? How do you do this?
It goes to the experiences I think that I had. But naturally, it goes to the changing of my philosophy of life because whenever I am somewhere, I was elected to understand, to upgrade, to make stronger with the possibility that I have taken there. So the classroom is a chance for me to upgrade myself. I do like to be concentrated there because outside of the door of the class, there is nothing to help me to reach the better positive points of the possibility of the classes. So I close the door and I'm here, I'm concentrated because I am fully interacted with the students. So I get better results. It goes to the experiences. It goes to Carlos Castaneda. You know Carlos Castaneda?
I know. Can you?
Carlos Castaneda, I suggest you to read some books of him. But honestly, I read his books completely.
Yeah.
I forgot that. Carlos Castaneda was a writer who was looking for a new experiences in mental abilities. He went to the southern Latin of America, and he met a red-necked man. He was able to connect with the nature. You know, here now, we have lots of noise here, but our mind, unconsciously, is ignoring some of them. So, Carlos Castaneda, in his book, tried to teach the reader, you can concentrate, you can ignore the negative points around you to reach the heart of the matter. It was very helpful. Another one was the book of James Redfield wrote a book. I cannot remember the right name of him, that book. But the same way of preparing someone to concentrate was explained in that book. Through a story, not a teaching, through a story you could find that you can concentrate in talking with the plants too. You can be connected with the plants that you are growing. And I did it. I did this experience. When I stopped to be connected with the plant that I was connected before the plant died.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing is happening to me. If I be disconnected with the young people that are most important for me, maybe I will die soon. This is a must of life for me to be connected with you.
Thank you. One of the reasons I teach, really, one of the most important reasons I teach is to meet new people and new ideologies. When we talk, I say, hey, I think this one will go into my book. Like, I think, like, right now I can talk, like, when I sit down with you and I talk about my ideologies, those are not exactly mine. They're not native to me. I have gotten from, different places, different people. So I think each and every one of us, we need that connection with other people. And we need that connection with new people every week, every month to keep upgrading ourselves.
Yeah, completely right. When you talk about Maulana, he had a person, not a teacher, a very important person beside him, Shams. Shams means light, the light of the sun. It explains what was the position of Shams to Maulana. Shams was not at the level of the Maulana, very low. Yeah. But he was able to shock the Maulana, to help Maulana, to rearrange his ability. So that was the reason that Maulavi called him my Shams. You give light to my dark part of my ideology. But I am the first character. I am the first actor of this life. So we are looking for the shams in lives. People are acting like shams for us. If we accept them, if we let them, otherwise they are not known. They are just passing by each other.
Do you think our country has its own limitations that is not allowing us to kind of improve sometimes?
Of course, you can improve. You are supposed to be improved. You are alive because of improvement, nothing else. But can you show me a hero that has never touched an accident, a bad situation, or strong situation?
Never.
Never. Like Ronaldo or some other people, they had tried a lot. They had some bad experiences before that made them to be strong. In this case, in this way of thinking, I think the limitation can even more than calm atmosphere can help the people to improve themselves. It's a chance. This is not separated from the other part of the facts of life. You are important. How you can be connected with the events. Events are not important. Your capability, your ability, your interest, your belief determines what you get, not the things around you. When Mushiri says, when you open your eyes, you can see the sky is blue. The sun is shining. He's talking about opening eyes. Out of your body, out of your physical body, everything is for everybody. But what you get different from other people depends on yourself. How you determine, how you analyze it, how you use them, how you get them to change your ideology, how you are accepting the changes. You are important. You are the base of the world.
I know this psychologist, and I follow this psychologist. His name is Jordan Peterson. He wrote a book in which he says, if you want to change the world, you need to organize your room.
Yes.
And the first time I read this, I was like, because I've heard this from my dad so many different times that, like you can't really change the world yourself. Like sometimes you need to change yourself in order to change the world. And Jordan Peterson talks about the fact that everybody is connected. And if you smile to your wife in the morning, your wife will smile to another person in the alley. And that person will smile to another person. And this chain will go on.
Yes.
And when you go out of your house, a person will smile at you because of a chain of reaction that you created. So I kind of believe this. I believe this. I really do. And at the same time, even though like when I was a kid, I wanted to change the world.
And you did it.
And maybe I did, or maybe I didn't.
Of course you did it.
I'm sorry. But at the same time, I believe in this, that if you want to see change happen, sometimes you need to change yourself. If you think, like I go outside and I drive my car and I'm nagging all the time. Why is he doing that? Why is he doing this? But when it comes to me, I never ask myself the question, why did you do that? Why did you cut in line? Why did you do that? So sometimes we need to look at ourselves in order to change what we want or what we need. Yes. And the thing that you said about heroes can never become heroes if they don't understand what bad is. Yeah? If they need to understand, they need to know what bad is in order to become good. So I completely agree with you in all the things you just said. Yeah. So do you watch movies?
Yes, a lot.
Well, do you have some sort of a genre that you like to follow?
Yes, scientific. Quantum atmospheres in the films. It's when I suggested to my students to watch the films like Predestination. I'm talking about the codes that are important to me. Predestination goes to a scientific ideology that the time is in loop. We are a part of the life. We can change it. We are changed by life. I believe that the films are talking about the future. the movies are talking about the future. As you saw that they had some movies had during the past years were talking about a black president of the United States, about talking about a woman to become a president of the United States, talking about ending life of the earth and so on, and connecting with the aliens and some others. I think that the movies comes from the imagination of the well-known people who can see future closer than others. Not all of the films or not all of the movies. Even in cartoons, in animation, you can find that they are trying to prepare the people to accept the future which is coming. I do believe it.
Do you have a favorite movie?
I said that Predestination.
Predestination is a favorite movie.
And The Shack. And also The Shack is a good movie. They are totally separated. I'm not in one genre. I'm just looking for the chances. Everywhere is chance. If you can see them, they are there. In movies, you can see the future. Movies are talking about explaining and trying to explain the future which is coming, which will come. Maybe not exactly the same, but you can guess what is happening. Because the movies are reflecting the total interest of the world, not only a group of these people. Yeah.
I understand. As our last question, where do you think the future of university is going?
Which university?
All the universities in the world. When somebody asks me, where do you think the future of money is going? Like, where is that leading us to? Like when I was a kid, I never imagined money to become just numbers. I always thought money is going to be some papers that I have that have value, and I pay things with those papers basically. But now I don't really see papers anymore. All I see is numbers in my text messages. So I couldn't really imagine to be in this position. So where do you think the future of university is going to? Like, do you think we are going to go to universities again in 50 years' time? Or do you think everything's going to happen in our homes?
Of course, a big amount of time will be spent concentrating through the computers and nets, internet. But touching is something else. You must be a part of the progress. You cannot guess, you cannot determine, you cannot count, you cannot be limited in aesthetics. You must be a part of an event that can feel it, how it is working. So, no. The university, vice versa, I think that goes much more vaster in the society. It will not be limited by the walls in an area. University can go everywhere, can be acted, can be active in anywhere. So no, university can be vaster. University will be not physically limited to the walls. So no, I believe that university will be continued, and also when we talk about the nets, they have to change. They have to synchronize their policies and their ability to the needs of the society. The society is moving according to the quantum ideology. The quantum ideology is not a rule; is a reality. So it appears everywhere. The quantum reality says that you are a part of the whole and the whole is a part of you. You are interacting with each other. So the university cannot be separated from the society, because the university is not supposed to serve the society. The society should serve the universities too, vice versa. And it will be continued, not only the university, in any activity, I think, even in politics or in economy. And any other things. You can see the Uber, you can see the taxi. It's a new way of business. Yeah. You have your own car, and you can get money, and you can stop working at any place that you like. You are important, as the customer is important, as the businessman is important, as the government is important. Yeah. Everybody is satisfied. It's another way of life. Changing life. You cannot follow the old rules and get a good future. Future will destroy the rules. The science and the rules are made to be changed, to be upgraded. not to be fixed. Any fixture, any rigidity move makes you stop from the real position of the board. And then this part of the limitation is very important. You cannot limit a person and energy in a small place, and energy will, which is naturally is growing, it will destroy the limitations. There is no limitation forever.
Yeah.
So I'm not thinking about the limitation in Iran or in other countries.
Yeah. So thank you so much for accepting my challenge. And like, who do you want to challenge next? Who do you want me to challenge next?
First, I must thank you that you are here. Second, again, I thank you to make a possibility for everyone, for some people to talk about and talk about their experiences, the way of life that they are following, that they believe in that. Not to teach, not to lead the others, but as an experience can be touched by the others, like the Shams ideologies. And third, the life is challenging. When you stop challenging, you are not alive. So I will be now involved in any possibility which can be positive, which can change my society, and which can first change me and then the people around me. I am ready to be involved in any challenges. But I'm not going to challenge to destroy any possibility, never. Because for destroying an energy, you need to spend your energy. I need my energy. I'm not having an unlimited energy. So I will be involved in any challenge that you think, or any other my good friends think that we can improve the way of life that we have.
That's amazing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. That's great. Great. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Don't forget about a challenge. I'll be waiting for your suggestions. Thank you again. See you soon.
Thank you for tuning in.